Craig, are you going to include the 177 mil on the net spendometer? No, no. I should probably reference that 177 million that you're speaking about there, my friend. Thank you for bringing it up, by the way, because I probably would have forgotten to mention it. And again, credit, I think it was David C. Kopp that posted this one. Liverpool could earn 177, so 177 million pound by winning the Premier League. There's a breakdown then that said the equal share prize money that goes to all clubs in the Premier League, 95 million pound. Title prize money, an additional 56.4 million pound. Television appearance money, 25.2 million pound. International TV bonuses, 8.1 million pound. And in total, that means that Liverpool could make 177 million pound from winning the Premier League this year. The other very interesting stat came at the start of the season when Liverpool were given just a 5.1% chance to win the Premier League by the bookmakers. 5.1. Now, 100% chance, of course. It just goes to show what an incredible job Arne Slot has done. And it's why I get particularly wound up over anybody who tries to just say it's been a crap Premier League, because I think that's really unfair. And the job that Arne Slot has done. And it's also, and I can't say this strongly enough, not our problem if other people underperform. Right, let me go back to my notes. So, this is crazy, right? Liverpool in the Premier League this season have been the model of consistency. Again, credit Sky Sports for this graphic. But they went through and broke down Liverpool's first 16 games of the season and our last 17 games of the season. And it is, well, it's actually really, really spooky. So, first 16 games, we amassed 39 points. Last 17 games, 40 points. Goals scored, 37 in the first 16, 38 in the last 17. Goals against, 16 in the first 16 games, 15 in the last 17 games. Clean sheets, both with 7. So 7 in the first 16, 7 in the last 17. Shots taken, we've had more in the last 17 games. We had 310 versus 256. We faced less shots, so we're defensively have gotten better, with 151 shots faced in the last 17 versus 163 shots faced in the first 16. XG was pretty much similar, 36.9% for the first, 36.4% for the last 17. And the distance covered per game as well is very interesting. 108.4 kilometres in the first 16 games, 107.4 kilometres in the last 17 games. So, like I said, the absolute model of consistency there from the Reds over the two halves of the season. Koopy said, Craig, I'm getting sick of people saying we're the worst Premier League champions. Teams below us shining this year in Europe. If they would say this if City were top, they wouldn't, mate. And they always tried to undermine us. Sure, when we won the first Premier League title, they couldn't even acknowledge that we had to wait 30 years for that league title and show a bit of grace about it and go, do you know what, fair play. No, it was COVID title doesn't count, asterisks. This season, new manager, everyone expecting us to be lambs to the slaughter, talking about us maybe not even qualifying for Champions League, winning the league at a canter, and it's because everybody else is underperforming. So you're absolutely spot on. It's bullshit, it's sour grapes, and it also isn't our problem. And you're right, mate, if this was Arteta's Arsenal about to win the league this year, the headlines and the narrative would be very, very, very different. Now, to be fair, I don't aim that part at journalists, because there have been a lot of journalists who have given Liverpool their credit. So I'm aiming this more in the football fandom circles than anything. This constant need to undermine any achievement from Liverpool, it feels weird. It almost feels like it's an us against everybody else scenario at times, and heck, maybe it is, I don't know. But, you know, as I've mentioned, if Arsenal win a Champions League, and I've said this so many times, I'll credit them and I'll say they did it the hard way, because they will have. And all I would hope for and expect from opposition fans is that same level of decency and respect to be given to Liverpool fans. It just proves to me, especially Arsenal's squad is not good enough starting 11, but squad isn't. Arsenal have been too inconsistent this season. What is it, 13, 14 draws, something like that across the season for Arsenal. And they've never really put a run of games together without dropping points at any point. This is what I've said all year when people kept fearing that Arsenal were going to come back and claw the lead back. They've never shown the ability to do it all season. And that's why it's probably the Champions League that's been their best chance this season, because when they get it right, Arsenal, and they're on it, they're a very good team. A really good team. Well coached, well disciplined, with good talent. But too often, they draw blanks and they draw silly games. They should have beaten us at the Emirates, but they didn't. They were cowards and they tried to run to the corner, and that cost them, and we got an equaliser. So yeah, I'm still going to say the same. If Arteta doesn't win something this year, when does the pressure come on him? Because that'll be one FA Cup in 6 years with 700 or 800 million spent. Alex said, yep, I don't want Arsenal to win the Champions League. 2 reasons. 1, I'll never hear the end of it. And 2, everybody will overshadow Liverpool's league success with Arsenal's Champions League glory. So no, thank you. Look, if they win the Champions League, all I can say is I will come on and credit them for what would be a huge achievement, especially for their club's first one. 2 things can be right at once, I guess. We can have a remarkable season, win the Premier League and enjoy doing it, and they can have a fantastic triumph in the Champions League. They have a long way to go yet to get there, but as I've said, I've tried to be honest about this. If you knock out Real Madrid, if you then knock out PSG, and if you were to beat an Inter Milan / Barca in a final, that's an achievement, and that deserves to be recognised. But they haven't done it yet. Oh, and the injury stuff as well that they love to cry arse about. I think they need to start looking more inwardly at their manager around those injuries and to why they were getting some of them. And I think he overplayed players too much. Said, I can see a 3-horse race next season, maybe a race to 90 points. What do you think? So I think Arsenal will be there next season, pushing thereabouts, no matter what happens. I really just don't know what to make of Manchester City, though, Sunil, at the minute, because their business over the last year or two, it doesn't feel as good as their previous business when they were building that squad. I know Rodri to come back in will make a huge difference. I'm just unsure about them and what level they're going to be able to get back up to, because at the peak, that Manchester City team were just a machine of grinding out wins. So I'm unsure how big of a threat they're going to be. And also then you take into account them and Chelsea participating in the Club World Cup. So less rest and more minutes in their legs. What impact will that then have? But a race to 90 points would be a race that Arsenal have never been able to get to, because 89, I think, is the best under Arteta. We're still on for a potential, is it 94-point season? No, I don't think we get there. I think we end up at about 87 points, something like that, 88. But I think a race to 90 points would certainly be putting you right there in the mix for the title. And I think next season, again, you're going to see teams beating teams, because there's some good teams in the Premier League. Like, to see the football Bournemouth play the time has been top-notch. Brighton will probably get more consistent next year when the new manager has a full season under his belt. Villa are going in the right direction as a club and, have very ambitious owners with a great coach. Chelsea, who knows what to expect from them. Spurs won't be anywhere near the top of the league table, and, it'll be interesting. I don't know what to expect. Do you think we'll challenge next season? Yeah, I do. Look, we know Dave next, or excuse me, not Dave, sorry, Eddie, my apologies. I was reading one of Dave's comments. Eddie, lovely to see you again, my friend. Yeah, I do think we'll challenge next season, because we've got Virgil and we've got Mo, and that's going to give us a chance. We've got Alisson Becker, that's going to give us a chance. So it'll be interesting to see if we can take some of the burden off Mo with regards to goals and assists and where else they may come from. It'll be interesting to see quite how many changes that the manager makes, but if we at least get to a place where we don't have 14 or 15 players that are available, they're a real 17 or 18, I think that will help us with consistency across the season. And yeah, I'm going into it next season thinking the Champions League football's a gimme, in all honesty, next season. I'd be like, do we necessarily win the league? I don't think anybody can say 100% before league starts you're going to win the league, but I at least want to feel like we can, and we can defend it.